These elasmosauruses are doing a good job making me regret that I ever placed them into the park. They are always injured or sick, and I guess it's like the little tiny fish that they eat are beating them up. I don't know. It's clear why these guys went extinct. We're here with the Germany Challenge map. This place has a ton of potential for us, but it also has some of the harshest restrictions that we've seen in any of these challenge maps. We're playing on the Jurassic difficulty. The Germans love creating rules and regulations, and they must have seen the previous movies, because let's look at these set of restrictions. We get no general guests, no adventure guests, so that means we're limited to only the luxury and the eco-tourists. We're not allowed to build any carnivores. Our genomes unlock at 100%, so you have to fully complete a dinosaur genome before you are able to bring them into the park. Usually they unlock, I believe, at 55 or 60%. There are no genome modifications allowed, so we cannot change any of our dinosaurs' behavior. We have a max of 1 staff center, which is going to keep our team of scientists small, which is going to be a restriction on being able to expand. And we have a max of 10 different species. So we are going to have to plan very carefully about every single dino that we are going to add into this park. We have our first enclosure going up here, targeting this as our zone, and then we want to set up our backup generator to be able to begin bringing power in. I want it to just be able to catch that hatchery, and then we're going to need actually a lot of initial infrastructure. So we need a science center basis to be able to get anything researched. I want that as far out as I can get. Here we go. I guess we'll do this. We'll have infrastructure coming off in a branch of the path right over here. And then we also, once we get this hatchery open, we can see, trying to synthesize any dinosaurs, looking at our starter dinosaurs, what is available to us, and it is nothing. We have no fully completed genomes here. 77% is usually you can immediately release this guy, but not here. We have to go to 100%. So we're actually going to have to build an expedition center and go out and refine the DNA before we can even start, and we are on a very limited budget. We started out with $4 million. Cut it down to 3 million right now. So we're gonna have to work fast to make sure that we don't go bankrupt before the park can even open. Thankfully, our starter staff member, Sherlock, is excellent at logistics and genetics. Man, she is a great scientist, so she'll be able to handle the expeditions for the fossils and then also extracting the DNA from the fossils just fine on her own. That way we can keep our just an absolute skeleton crew so that we're not bleeding money for paychecks while we are working on releasing dinos. Then once we have at least something bringing guests into the park, we can expand the team and get that base level of necessary research. Now let's go out and find our very first dig site. It looks like there's only, one available to us. Oh, I guess there's 2. And then we have the Nasteoceratops that is also available to us by default, but we don't have high enough logistics to be able to go over there. So here we go. Sherlock, find me the fossils. Let's see, did we recover enough to be able to go? Yes, okay, excellent. If we had to do a second expedition to be able to reach 100%, I would have been very peeved. And then right here, Sherlock can now work on those fossils in the science center. We have added another staff member because we had to be able to research the viewing centers, and those require welfare, and Sherlock was terrible at welfare, so I decided that it would be a good idea to get a welfare specialist on board, and I found the cheapest one who would fit the bill. There we go. Guest attractions are up. Ooh, we're getting a storm. I wonder what storms are like here in Germany. We've had a variety of different storm types on the different maps we've played, and I guess we'll see what Germany has to hit us with. The scenario also promised an extra challenge in that disease outbreaks were very common. That was not displayed when we brought up the in mission tab, or no, I guess it is through here. It says missions. The challenge conditions here does not specify that disease outbreaks are very common, but we're going to have to be on a watch for that. So if we keep a very high density of population of dinos in individual exhibits, they'll be extremely vulnerable to disease outbreaks sweeping through all of them. So maybe we don't go for as densely cohabitated exhibits as I usually have on these challenge missions. There we are. It's from Theomimus. Genome is complete. synthesize dino. And it's so weird to me that we're not able to modify the genomes. We can't even change what they look like. That's probably the most disappointing thing to me, but here we go. We're going to have a batch size of 7 with a 71% expected survival rate, which is excellent. And this guy is such a great budget dinos. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, Hadid, get started. We got 5 eggs ready to incubate. So we'll see those guys coming up, and then we will start prepping the exhibit for what we know they need, the basics. They need a little bit of water. We're going to get a water feature that will kind of run the length of the exhibit. Maybe get a little wider here in the middle. We will also want, let's see, enclosures. We want we can't get a ranger post until we have the ranger station. And then I believe that these ones want, let's see, yes, ground leaf. So we will tailor in some ground leaf for them so they have some food right when they release. The first dinosaurs are here in the park, and now the park is open for visitors. We can get the ranger station, and then we're going to want to immediately get the guest comfort options for us as well. We're going to start a second batch coming in, and as we get guests, we also need to provide amenities. We got to monetize all of our guests as quickly as possible. So here we go. Set up the little gift shop with the Struthiomimus gift shop. Get yourself an ostrich plushie. Select eggs. We have another 5 that are ready to release. Bring up our appeal rating from the absolute gutter. To be able to research the guest comfort, so restrooms, shelters, and hotels, we have to have 50 guests in the park, and we have 49. We're going to have to do a whole nother batch of Struthiomimus to be able to get that ticket sales up just enough to be able to do the next level of research, and then we should actually start being able to turn a nice little profit. Because the way that this is set up is you have, let's go over to the appeal. Your appeal generates your potential number of guests, and then guest comfort determines how many of those guests actually show up. So right now we have a much higher potential number of guests. It's just because there are no bathrooms and no hotels, no emergency shelters. Not a lot of people actually want to come. Oh, here we go. 7 full batch. Send them out. Ooh, she's going to be disgruntled. Okay, we need to work on researching the staff center next, so we can keep on progressing with the team that we have. There we go. They're ready to release. Release the dinos. And let's see those 50th guests. Come on. Come on. Somebody has to be more interested now that there is a larger herd. There it is. Core guest buildings available to be unlocked. So we go to guest comfort. Grab the core buildings. Oh, staff are busy. What are they working on? Oh, improved power tech. Okay. So we gotta wait for that to finish. We'll grab this, and then we want to start on that staff center as well. Yeah, that one's easy to be able to get started here. Sherlock will work on figuring out the staff center. And once we get these, we should be able to expand very nicely. Yeah, guest comfort is low. Yeah, I know.
I'm clear. I'm extremely passionate about dinosaurs, and I have a responsibility to take care of them.
We'll get the emergency shelter right out front of the hatchery. That seems like a appropriate location.
As the dinosaurs.
And then we need to get the bathroom up as well.
Let's see. Make them feel at home.
Finally, we do actually want to go for the hotel because the accommodation rating is very important for guest comfort and potential guest count. There we go. We'll fit it in here, connect that up with the path. Let's see, we'll string it into this side of the path. There we are. Now our number of guests coming in should be skyrocketing once these all finish up. And actually, once we get this emergency shelter coverage up, we'll be able to complete our very first contract. Oh no, I'll take the sabotage because all we have to do is, oh, do I not have the response? I don't have the response facility up yet. Okay, we'll get the response facility up. We'll get that guy over here. And then the ranger teams will be able to clear the sabotage. Oh no, we're still losing money. We need to get to our break-even point very fast here. Hey, 194 guests now. Looking much better for us. What is that? Are we actually turning a profit? Haha, we've turned things around. $33,000 a minute is basically nothing, but it is a start. Oh yes, and with the increased guest count, the amenities are actually turning a profit. I want to double check to see if we are really optimizing these guys. Oh, we can go farther if we add the fish tanks. All right, bring in the fish tanks. Now we can see to it that the rangers will be able to do status checks for the initial enclosure here. I wish that there was a setting where you could lay down multiples of a specific building rather than having to go back through the menus. It feels so tedious, but then we'll assign the ranger teams up here, be able to get those status checks on the Struthiomimus. And I think, let's see, what would we like to add next? Uh-oh, they're already catching diseases and we don't have the paleo medical facility up. I guess that's what we're gonna have to go for next. Who do they like living with? They like living with sauropods, ankylosaurids, and stegosaurids. They don't particularly like living with the Nodosaurus, which is the other dino that we had unlocked by default. We'll have to see what is initially available to us in these other categories. We also really want to spend our money on setting up a power plant so that we can get away from having to use the generator there as it goes out immediately as I'm saying that. We'll give it a extra 50 fuel, and we're going to try and get another power plant up before we need to resupply it again. Let's see, where do we want it? We can have the power plant way off in no man's land and then just run power lines. Power lines are cheap. Power lines are also unsightly, but this is the very beginning. We just have to cover our basics. Site manager is sick. This is for the small... Man, that is unfortunate. Okay. We're going to just have to wait it out, and this station is going to take 5 minutes to build. Well, is the generator going to hold out? Nope, the generator only holds out for 3 minutes. Let's go ahead, resupply there. Oof, didn't want that to happen. Now, what does it take to be able to get a paleo medical facility going? Oh, I need to build the staff center too. Need to get that staff center up so that we can get Hadid out of disgruntled. Yeah, because I actually need Hadid to be able to do this research. Okay. Staff center on its way. That can also go well out of the way of everything else around here. Now, in terms of expanding our dinos, because we have this restriction of only 10 different species, we need to be very careful how we expand and also what we use to be our main attractions. We have carnivores completely off limits, and those are usually kind of the star dino for bringing in a lot of people, but our workaround is that we do have both the aviary and the lagoon available to us. We can get the Tylosaurus and the Mosasaurus. Not sure how these qualify or work their way around the no carnivore rule, but the appeal ratings on both of these guys is incredibly high, so we could go for them to be able to have that as our central attraction. And we also wanted to find the Ankylosaurus. Oh good, we have Nodosaurus unlocked for free. That's probably what we go as our second expansion, though they also enjoyed living with stegosaurids. Do we have no stegosaurids available? Wow, we have an extremely limited set here in Germany. We have all the big boys, though. We could get Dreadnaughtus, the giant. Ah, that'd be super cool as a final piece. We have to have 4 stars before we're even able to research him, though. Man, yeah, these guys would be amazing to get. For now, we're just looking for little Nodosaurus, the humble beginnings of what is going to be an incredible park. I'm getting very worried for my herd of dinosaurs because they are all sick and I don't know what it is. At first, I was hoping it was just going to be the common cold, but because so many of them have reached critically low levels of health, I think it's something worse. It could be tuberculosis, it could be avian pox. I think those are the only 2 that could really spread this quickly throughout all of them. So we are rushing through our research of the paleo medical facility. Hopefully we get it up in time. Some of their health is really getting low though. Oh, 4%. No, we're gonna start losing dinos. Oh, there's the first death. Ugh, this is bad. Second death. Very bad. Third death. Oh no. They're all keeling over. Why? Alright, we have the vet up. Go in there, save as many as you can. Even if we don't know what it is, they can still get in there and bolster the health of the dinos. Oh, so many have died. Okay, let's see. Let's get another batch. Be able to strengthen our numbers. The real double whammy here is that the eco-tourists don't even want to come if the dinosaurs' welfare, if they're sick, they don't want to see the sick dinos. So we only have luxury guests, so our guest count in the park has also gone down because of this. There it is, disease contracted. What is it? Tell me what, it's avian pox. And researching avian pox is okay, it is available, good. You have to quarantine all dinos with avian pox to be able to research the cure. So that means every single one of our dinos has caught it. There's no healthy dinos left in this exhibit. It's not a good thing. Hey, the cure is researched. Are we saved? Are we saved just in time? There's so many dead. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to balance this out. Thankfully, to help us out of the bit of a money crunch we have fallen into, we have found a set of palladium, which is worth $500,000. So we're going to extract that and leverage that to be able to keep on expanding. They're getting sick again. No. This time they caught tuberculosis, so we're going to have to go over here to research and shell out another $100,000 to be able to develop the treatment here. Thankfully, we have Hadid, who is available to be able to begin immediately. This time, hopefully before we have mass death like we did last time. They're all catching it. Alright, here we go. Dispense the cure. Gotta get the ambulance back. I guess I should have taken it under direct control so I could have kept it in the exhibit. But then you have to wait at 1x to be able to get the cure. I wish that you could have it just like holding in a waypoint. Beautiful. Everybody is healthy again. And eventually we will be able to get vaccines to prevent the outbreaks from some of these diseases to help us out. Now let's see, what were we going for? I had an upgrade for the Expedition Center. Get to tack on the improved yield for $75,000. That upgrade is a steal. It is a must-have. And now if we can keep our dinosaurs disease-free for 3.5 minutes, we'll be able to get a nice boost to our income. But we have an expedition to embark upon. Now, normally the Nodosaurus at 87% would already be on the park. But for us, here in Germany, we have to go out again and completely finish off his strand of DNA to be able to bring him in. So away our chopper goes to find more fossils. Hopefully they come back with some more gold or that palladium, whatever it was, the $500,000 fossil. You can also find platinum, I believe. Yeah, and with the improved yield out of the Expedition Center, we have a higher chance of being able to get some of those awesome goodies this time. Well, we did not get all that much. We got some crustacean fossils which sell for a little bit. They'll be able to cover the cost of this fossil extraction, but that's about it. Nodosaurus is complete. Let us synthesize the dino. I am so used to going through to just immediately modify genome, and so the fact that that's blocked off just bugs me every time. Hopefully we don't get antisocial ones, because then we won't be able to have a large population of them. Looks like we have to wait for this research to complete. I had most of my remaining staff working on getting the staff improvement so we can finally increase their skills up from level 1. We found a number of staff who have extremely small salaries. Let's see if I can show that off. Yeah. So yeah, 5,000, 5,000. These two are a little bit more expensive, but all in all, pretty cheap set of staff, able to keep that bottom line high, which is important, especially here in the early game. Hey, no negative traits. This one is even defensive. That shouldn't really matter, but we'll bring them on in. We have just enough money to be able to afford this. Hopefully they can turn around and help us make some of this money back. Have invested a lot, given that we had to do all the expeditions to hit the genome to 100%, and now 300,000 to be able to incubate the eggs. But I do think that we're kind of at a tipping point of being able to really expand how much we make, because we have a very tight set of infrastructure that's providing maximum guest comfort. And if we get the crowds of guests up a little bit, then we'll be able to still service even more out of our amenities. So let's release the Nodosaurus, the friendly little ankylosaur. Everybody loves living with this guy.
Okay, what we have here is a Nodosaurus. This dinosaur tends to
He
be
wants
shy and
open
likes to keep
space
to
and
itself.
ground leaf, which
And
should
it has a
mesh
thick
perfectly
skin.
with what we have
Sort of the
already
opposite of
provided for
Ellen.
the Struthiomimus. Ah, beautiful. 100% comfort. That's what we like to see. I'm wondering if we want to go for synthesizing a second batch right away. What is their appeal rating? So they have 66 appeal versus the Struthiomimus's 14. So they count for a good 4 Struthiomimuses each, which means if we bring their population to 4, they would be each bringing in an equal amount of appeal. Yeah, let's do it. Get a few more dinos in here. Oh, we only got 1 egg. All right. Well, it means that we can afford bring him in. There we go. Population of 3. Oh no, the little ankylosaurids, the Nodosaurus, they're fighting for who's going to be alpha. They don't have the spiked or weighted tails, so they just kind of shoulder check each other to determine dominance. Ah, there we go. Nodosaurus 2 takes alpha away from his older brother. I've not often gone for the Pachycephalosaurids. I had a great experience in the UK park with the Dracorexes. They actually have excellent appeal rating for being small and very affordable. I think that we're going to go ahead and try and bring them in again. The interesting thing is they actually have a higher appeal rating than the next level that you unlock later on, and then you have to get all the way up to the Stygimolochs to be able to have just a slightly higher appeal rating out of these guys, but they're happy traveling in herds and they will fit in fairly well in terms of diet and also with the preferred cohabitation species of the other dinos.
I don't want you
Hey,
to
1 star! It's not much, but it is a start. What horrible epidemic will sweep through the dinosaurs this time? Let's see, what has happened? That's a new one. This guy has rabies. Amazing. Okay, so here we have to take direct control of the vet because we need a picture of the dino with rabies to be able to research the cure. We're gonna hone in. And we can still sell this picture for a profit. There we go. Diseased dinosaur, $30,000, and it unlocks the research that we needed. So then we hop over here, start research. Let's see, what does it take to be able to develop the cure for rabies? Oh, I have to quarantine all dinosaurs with rabies as well? No! Okay, so we need to knock him out. We'll tranquilize him while we build the quarantine pen. So there, that'll drop him, and then where should the quarantine pen go? I'm thinking maybe just over here. I believe that we have enough space in terms of park limits, and it'll also connect with this source of power. I don't have that many good options, but it only has to be so big. It's not going to hold them very long. Basically, I'll bring them over so that they are considered quarantined for 30 seconds, and then immediately move them back. I don't even technically need a gate, I guess, but we'll put one in. There we go. Bring him over while the fences are still being constructed. There, it's finished. Quarantine pen looks terrible, but it doesn't have to be good. I suppose they should at least have some water so they're not dehydrated while they're over here. I don't know what food sources to put in here because I could put anybody in here, technically. There's a couple other ones that I believe will have to be quarantined to be able to get the well, avian pox was the other one. So the Nodosauruses are fighting again. Why are they fighting again? We already figured out who was alpha. Yeah, he wanted to challenge back to be able to take alpha away from his younger brother, but he lost again. You need to stop it, Mr. Nodosaur. Okay, the Struthiomimus is very unhappy, but wait, he healed himself? He shook the rabies? Okay. I'm more impressed now. No longer has rabies. Maybe the tranquilizer darts have some kind of healing properties. Here's our very first storm warning. Let's see what it's going to do. Oh, we've already got a damaged building from the storm. Well, I guess that's the kind of storm it's going to be. That was not very much warning at all. Oh no, the hotel. That's $80,000 to fix. Hopefully the fences don't break down. Or if the fences do, they can be over here on the quarantine zone. I don't care if that gets hurt. Alright, that storm was not so bad. Not so bad at all. Ooh, we have somebody sick. Let's go see. What's happening now? Oh, he just got injured. Okay. This guy is always getting into trouble. He's been in the hospital once already. Now he's got a concussion. A branch fell on him during the storm. He's a problem child. Let's see. Place your bets in the comments on how many more times in his lifetime this little dino is going to go to the hospital. Now I have pulled this trick with some of my parks before. I like getting the guest attraction to be able to give me a little shot in the arm in the early game. It's a very cheap and affordable way to be able to increase your appeal rating. You get 100 appeal out of it, which is meaningful in the early game, not so much in the late game, but in the late game you can research different modules to put in there that will attract different types of guests to it, and then you can more carefully tailor what your amenities are going to be able to have in their modules to best serve the guests. So it can still be useful in the late game, even if it's not as useful. But compared to having to research and create a whole new dino type, which we are still trying to do with the Dracorex, very stubborn to get his genome up to 100% here. We've gone on 3 expeditions to be able to pull it off. One of our expeditions was a total dud. So here we go. We'll finally be able to add Dracorex once we get this extraction going. But here is the Cinema extra 100 appeal rating. We will take anything we can get here at the very beginning. There we go. Problem child. Back to the exhibit. Dracorex is ready to go, and man, he is easy to work on. I love it. So we'll get that batch of eggs going, and then we need to figure out if we want to start a new exhibit or if we're going to keep on adding to this main one. Wow, we got 7 eggs out of this batch. This is amazing. Why have I not been using these dinosaurs more in my other parks? There we go. Herd of 7 Dracorexes coming right up. They process basically as fast as the Strympthiomimus, and they're basically as cheap, but they are about 3 times as popular for the guests. So yeah, these guys are amazing.
This dinosaur, the Dracorex,
Did I need to add anything for him to be happy? He's going to find plenty of ground leaf. They want a little bit of nuts to round out their diet. And then they like living with sauropods, ankylosaurs, and stegosaurids. Unfortunately, here in Germany, I can't get any stegosaurids, but we could look at adding a sauropod to this exhibit.
Do you like to read? Are you ready for
let's see, what do I want to increase?
Then
I'll
this
increase park
objective
appeal.
is right up your alley.
Unfortunately, I didn't get that contract. Oh, did I finish it?
Risk
Wait.
versus reward.
Why did he give me
That
a
is
second
the
one
eternal
immediately?
debate. However,
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. If
the
we actually
reward is
succeeded
high
on the other one
and the risk
immediately,
is low.
you're not supposed to be able to
Review
get
the details
2 in a
and we'll
row.
get to it.
I'll go for park rating now, I guess. Time to release Paleocanthus. Release via airlift because the different species of the same type of dinosaur never get along together, so we don't want them disrupting our lovely little Nodosaurs that we have. This is the exhibit we prepped for them. I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. It looks like a swamp, and it's kind of inset so that the guests from the viewing gallery are able to look down and be able to spot the dinos. Yeah. If it was even larger, we could do even more with it, but for the space that we had, very pleased with what we got. And we're going to try and expand this and get them to cohabitate with one of the ceratopsids, I believe is what we're going to go for. There is 1 or 2 that I spied that will be able to share the same food source, so they should be able to get along excellent together. The ceratopsids only get along with not Nodosaurus, Ankylosauri. Here we go. He is comfortable and perfect exhibit, which really is an accomplishment because this guy got the needy trait, so they need additional sources of whatever they're looking for to have top comfort. So now we have batch 2, his cousins will be able to join him in here so that he's not lonely. I don't think these guys really get lonely because they're often tend toward being antisocial, but being able to have a few more is going to raise the appeal ratings as we go to research the next level of the ceratopsids to be able to get what I wanted. Let's see, armored herbivores, and then I'm looking here at the Chasmosaurus, as the one we want to add. We have a few tiers of research we need to do first, so we will blitz through those and then get into developing our next dino. We need to be careful with every new dinosaur that we add, that we are making a jump toward being more higher appeal ratings, more advanced dinosaurs, because we only have 10 different species we are able to bring in. We already have 4, and then this ceratopsid is going to be 5, so we are considered, you could say we are halfway done with the number of different types of dinos we're going to be able to have. But I think that's fine. We'll have a base of probably 7 or 8 different dinosaurs that can all be lower appeal ratings, and then 2 really star attractions that will bring in the appeal like crazy. The very top level dinosaurs are so expensive, but they have incredibly high appeal ratings too, especially if we go for the lagoon. Those guys, their numbers are just bonkers. Chasmosaurus is in the air, inbound to be our 5th dino, hopefully bringing us across the halfway mark here for our park's progression. Did that Jeep just do like a jump over the hill? I feel like they're stunting with the Ranger Jeeps here. I should probably smooth out this path so they have an easier access into the exhibit. Right now this is a pretty steep hill. I don't know what's the best angle to show this off, but they're climbing a pretty extreme incline. Let's do that. It'll just make it look a little bit more realistic while we wait for our new inhabitants to be able to make it in. We'll increase the height here. How's that? That gives them a zone in. Now, whether or not they choose to use it is another question. All right, here is the alpha. It feels so satisfying when you drop them in and they hit 100% immediately. They have plenty of open space, plenty of water, plenty of ground leaf, and enough forest to be happy.
Look maybe a little like Owen.
Oh wow, look at these guys. They're so cool. All right, let's zoom in a little farther. Look at this guy. He's great.
Transportation.
And we have a storm warning. Okay. Time to weather the storm, and then we'll be picking what our third roommate, our third inhabitant of this exhibit is going to be. I want to go for one of those big sauropods, one of the big main attraction pieces that we can get. We'll have to see what we are able to research, because a lot of them don't research, or they don't unlock the research potential until, oh no, dinosaur threat. Somebody's breaking out already. Oh, the gates are open. The gates are open, guys, in the new exhibit. Close the gates. I wish there was some kind of research that would give you kind of general storm protection beyond just the storm protection upgrades that you can put on a few buildings. Okay, fences are all good now. Do we have the treatment for this disease already? I would really like to be able to get to it before there is an epidemic. I believe these guys are a parasite is what they caught. All right, back to the ranger team. Repairing gate 4. Well, I have more tasks for you. There we go. We got rid of the disease immediately. It's good to be able to keep them before they become epidemics. All right, there we go. Open the shelters. Come back around. Let's queue up all the repairs we need. And let's check out... why can't I add a task? Add task disabled. Oh, it's because the response team location was being fixed up. There we go. Repair the expedition center because we're going to be going out. While we are currently working to bring the Brachiosaurus back to life, I want to actually extend this exhibit to be able to make way for having such a large sauropod in there. Make sure that he has plenty of space. So we've prepped this zone to run up to the edge of the map. We are going to clear out the fence in between, and then we're going to have a couple considerations that we will need to look at here. We want to make sure that the guests can still see into the exhibit to be able to spot our dinosaurs. We're going to plop in this viewing zone, and we'll have to extend the path out to be able to get to that. Unfortunately, this is going to mean that our storm shelter and bathroom coverage is going to suffer, but that is the way it is. And then we also have the viewing platform over here that we are going to try and use to be able... Too close to a dinosaur. Move out of the way, little dinos! Why are we obstructed? I thought it was... Oh, he's literally walking the fence line. I want him to get out of there so that we can get the spotting coverage into the back corner. But there we go. The genome is complete for the Brachiosaurus. We'll begin to synthesize over here. The Brachiosaurus, 285 appeal. He's going to become our star dinosaur. He enjoys living with the ceratopsids and the ankylosaurids that are already in the exhibit. He's likely to have a large appetite and has a chance to be sickly, but also has a chance to be tolerant, which is excellent. We only get 2 eggs, but they have 100% expected survival rate. So at least you don't lose them just in the process of the experimentation. So we will get him cooking in the, and we have cheaper synthesis as well to help us afford this. We're going to go a little slow. Normally I'll do 2 batches at once, but I want to work on this exhibit a little bit more. I want to kind of embody the way that this front portion is lower. I want to make this back portion higher. So keep a rise on the slope here. We'll extend our paintbrush a little bit and then try and build this up. Black market dinosaur eggs. Black market dealers have offered a large sum of money for our synthesized dinosaur eggs. So I can lose one of the Brachiosaurus eggs and gain $1 million, or I can upset the criminal organization so they'll come by and sabotage us. I think that we're going to sell off the egg, and I guess I should have actually started a second batch of Brachiosaurus. We still get to hatch the 1 remaining egg. He's tolerant with a large appetite. That is fine. We will get him. I believe I have... no, I do not have cheaper incubation. Okay. So this is a very interesting and unfortunate situation. Our Chasmosaurus, who had rabies, I have to be able to quarantine all dinosaurs with rabies to be able to research the cure. Well, within 30 seconds, his rabies escalated, which the game is considering as a separate disease, and so I'm not able to get the quarantine requirement here, which means that I can't cure him. He is either going to die of rabies or he's going to recover on his own. Hopefully he recovers on his own. Oh yeah, when they have rabies they try and break out. Great. In the end the rabies got him. Yeah, he did not make it. He didn't make it. I was distracted during the storm, so I didn't send the ambulance over to support him a little more, but I don't think there was any chance really, because I'm locked out of being able to research the rabies cure if it hits rabies escalated. Man, they really need to fix some of these bugs. In happier news, the Brachiosaurus is ready to be released via airlift, so we're going to drop off 1 right now to make sure that conditions are agreeable to them, and then we will send over the second batch as well, and maybe a third batch. If we could get up to 5, that would be a big boost to our overall appeal rating. We have their food source over here, and we extended some more forest, and we made it kind of rise up into a hill. It wasn't the full effect that I wanted because we're so close to the edge of the park territory. We're not able to edit the terrain beyond the park territory, so it wasn't able to slope all the way up into the fence line. But I think it still gives a interesting visual appearance with the lowlands and the dinosaurs there, and then the Brachiosaurs, who will like being more up here on the hillside. There we are.
Okay. What we have here is a
Oh, he's
Brachiosaurus.
giant.
It has long
Absolutely
limbs relative
giant.
to the rest of its body.
84% comfortable. It's not bad, but it's not as good as it could be. I feel like to be able to push it even higher, though, we would need to extend the exhibit, because to be able to get him happier now, we would have to paint over some of the food sources that the Chasmosaurus and the little Ankylosaurus like to use. And I would like to be able to expand their populations, which means they'll need more and more area to be able to feed. But before we do another full extension of this exhibit, which I think we will, we could extend it along the edge of the park here, kind of wrap it in, and then have that extra zone be more habitable or hospitable to the Brachiosaurs. So we'll release the other 2 via airlift just so he has some friends for now. Make sure that we check in on this dino before we get another disease epidemic. And I think that we want to go ahead and bring in more Chasmosaurus, especially once the one died of rabies. And they could have already had a larger herd size and been fairly happy with that. So we'll get Sherlock to work on the synthesis, And then once they are ready, we can look at doing another expansion. I think it's time to plan our expansion into our lagoon. We need to figure out where we want to place it. If we go out to the big map, we're able to see that we have this finger up here. I really don't like using that kind of space. It's going to be hard to get up there. We have this large zone over here that we can extend to, and then we also have this, the beachfront property, and I actually really like the idea of using this as the zone for our lagoon. So we'll need to take away these little pockets of water and then plan out our new construction. I've also researched the monorail to be able to help our guests get down there and not take such a large penalty to our transportation rating, but it looks like we have another disease outbreak. What is happening over here? It's tuberculosis. Okay, we have the cure for that researched. So hopefully we're able to get in here fast before absolutely everyone catches it. Tuberculosis spreads so quickly. The vision for the lagoon is that we're going to have multiple lagoons to be able to fit different ones of the marine monsters, because I think that without doing any genetic modifications, it's going to be challenging to be able to get them to cohabitate, and some of them have requirements of needing a certain population of other marine monsters to be able to research them. We're gonna get this going, and a storm warning. All right, we'll put this on hold till we weather the storm. This is our first monorail station up here. The idea is that it's gonna have one route that goes down to the lagoon, and then it will wrap around. I wonder if we're gonna be able to get it to jump the cliff, but we're gonna get it to go up and then have another stop around here somewhere. Hey, our first little puddle. Okay, now to go back to extending this. We want to be able to have a small lagoon to begin with. We don't want to go expanding outside our means, so we'll do something like so. And then we need to be able to get our hatchery up before we can place any viewing stations. So we go to enclosures, lagoon, hatchery. Where do I want? Maybe we put our staff infrastructure over here, because I would like to have another ranger team down here to be able to service the lagoons. Construction accident. I can lose $50,000 and 25% publicity rating, or $500,000 and 10% publicity rating. Well, we're not hurting for cash right now, though. I do need to open up all the shelters so that we can start making some money. I wish that that was a auto feature, that when the storm was over, you could just... I guess the idea is that you can use the shelters when the dangerous dinos break out to be able to protect the guests. But, yeah, I just often forget that I need to... crank it back around. Okay, now we need to get power and the monorail down to this part of the park. Which one do we do first? We probably bring power down. Where's our closest substation? It looks like it's right here. Alright, string in the power lines. I want the monorail as much as possible to overlap with the exhibits. Oh no, you cannot build it outside of the buildable area. Okay. Okay, that potentially changes things. That means that the monorail is going to have a path going and coming back down here. Alright. Well, we can do something fun, like having this portion actually pass over this exhibit. And then it comes around to, say, over here. And then will this lock down a station? Yeah. We'll give it a little bit of space here to make sure that we can connect up that path. We have tons of space out here for a really large a secondary lagoon for some of the really big guys. Maybe even go for 3 separate lagoons. I'm not sure. I give you the new monorail. These two stations are very close together, but if we expand to have another exhibit, maybe we'll move it around. And then this path is actually a very long track, because that has to snake all the way back over here to be within the buildable area, because I'm not able to build up over the cliff. It seems like I would be able to engineer that in some way, but I guess not. But it'll be interesting if we have a large lagoon over here and you get to ride over it and see See the huge things swimming in the deep, the shadows underneath the water. We're trying to finish the genome here on Mosasaurus. Trying to finish the genome on Mosasaurus, and it looks like we have all of the fossils gathered that we need. We're just gonna have to keep on crunching up all of these fossils to be able to grab the DNA. So while our scientists are busy on that, we can make sure that this zone otherwise is prime for guests to be able to come in and see our new awesome attraction. So we're gonna go for the lagoon viewing stand here so we can put it right up against the lagoon wall. Staff are busy. Okay, so this is kind of a challenging research project. I need 16 logistics to be able to pull it off, and we have 10. Yeah, we would be able to do it with the guy who's currently doing fossil extraction or the guy who is currently resting. So we can pull it off, but then we're going to want to go to guests. Oh no, a dead dinosaur. Who has died? Why have they died? One of our original Strumptignathus has died over here, and he's in the forest, so he's impossible to spot. Lovely. Well, let's handle the disease outbreak first. He died of old age. He did not die of disease. This is a recent thing. Maybe brought upon by the rotting dead body. The monorail is still constructing. It takes so long to be able to build that. Alright, untreatable disease. Is this the common cold? It is. Usually we get things way worse than the common cold, but there we are. Though we will get some complications to pneumonia, which unfortunately is also untreatable. But you need to come by. There's somebody else died. What happened to you? Also died of old age? Okay. Well, you missed flu season for whatever that's worth. Oh, I think I see him. There he is. We can pick those up and send them away. And honestly, we're going to quietly let the Strumptignathus population die off. And then we are going to replace them with something that has a higher appeal rating. At least that is the goal. If we can get up to these guys, their appeal rating is actually 3 times what the individual appeal is for Strumptignathus. So if we can get there, that's definitely going to be the goal. If we have to rely on one of these other ones, it will still be an improvement, and they require the same food source, so they'll be able to slot in without any difficulty cohabitating. It is time for the lagoon's grand opening. We have our viewing platform, a hotel, the basic guest needs are all taken care of. We'll smack down amenities in a little bit. I didn't want them running with the operating cost, eating up money while we were waiting. These guys take a really long time to incubate, but they are finally ready for release. Let us see them. I think as we add the additional lagoons, I'm actually going to have hatcheries in those lagoons as well. Well, it would be necessary to be able to have the rangers do wellness checks anyway, but just the cinematics of seeing them released directly rather than released via airlift is so cool.
We know that all life began in the sea, the primordial soup. Some creatures made their way to
These
shore
guys are
and started the
amazing.
chain
The
reaction
spikes on the head.
Others
Yes.
stayed in the oceans.
Let's see, how happy
like
are
the
they?
Elasmosaurus.
They only
set the
have
pattern
2
for the
needs.
marine
The
life that would
lagoon
follow.
animals are very
This
simple
beautiful
creatures.
animal
Open
has a long
space
neck
and
a flat
fish.
tail.
Let's
With the right
see. Let's
setting,
make sure that
it
we
should
have a large
really
enough
attract
lagoon
the
here for
crowds.
them. There it is. They have enough area. Brilliant. So we'll go over here, make sure that we top off the fuel for the rangers who are servicing this part of the park. We have our own hospital down here as well. We will release the second batch. These guys' appeal rating is really high. They're 400 per dinosaur. So they are taking the place of the Brachiosaurus as our star attraction. Let's hop over and see that. Yeah, there he is, the Elasmosaurus, star attraction of our German park. Now we want to get our amenity coverage up. I'm going to focus this little zone for the amenities because we're planning on extending to have an additional lagoon or 2 over on this other side. So having the amenities centrally located for now is what we're looking for. We may even update them to large amenities if we get large enough crowds. Oh, what is going on? Why are they already hurt? Why does this always happen? They come out of the lab sick. So the way that the ambulance can work here is he's going to pull up to the lagoon hatchery, and then they'll launch a water drone that will go out and be able to check out our Elasmosauruses. Oh, their comfort went down a little bit with more of them. Do they want more space? Yeah, okay, so with the population of 4, they would like to have a slightly larger enclosure, but we're still within that perfect range, so I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to bother expanding right now. Alright, someone has organ trauma, and someone has a minor fracture. Was there a fight between them for who was alpha? The oldest one is still alpha, so he didn't lose if there was a fight. Well, this makes me happy that I actually installed a hospital right down here for them. So we'll be able to take care of this pretty quick. Wow, and these amenities are already making max profits, or at least close to it. That's so good. The appeal rating for this lagoon viewing stand is 1600. Let's see how that ranks up against our other exhibits. 1100 over here from this station. 1100 over here. Yeah, this is so spread out that even though we have a lot of dinos in the area, they're not the highest appeal dinos. Yeah, this one's really low. And because they're so spread out, you don't catch as many within the view of a single... Oh no, there's an epidemic breaking out over here. And I almost missed it. Thankfully we caught it now. Let's see what we have going on. Now this guy has been tranquilized. We should probably move him so he doesn't drown. Set him up over here. Heal up those organs. Having the beginnings of our marine population, we unlock the Tylosaurus for free. And we have the ability then to unlock Mosasaurus. This guy has an appeal rating of 2,500. Oh, it blows away anything else that we have. It would take our entire team of staff to be able to unlock him. But maybe we go big. Maybe we actually skip the Tylosaurus and go right to trying to release the Mosasaurus. We have plenty of money to be able to fit the bill of developing him. We have plenty of time. We are about halfway through our trip to par time, so being able to get him in should do really well. And then how are we looking for species diversity? We would want to add 2 more species after that, which would also be pretty easy to do. There's space for a 3rd enclosure up around our other herbivores, and we could launch some kind of large sauropod to be able to fill that spot. Construction of this lagoon may get a little finicky because we're built on a slope here. We want it to be really large because the dinos we want to keep in here are enormous. So we're going to try starting from the top of the hill and seeing how we fare with that. Oh, we've already hit... Why have we already hit terrain constraints? Outside buildable area. Great, great. This is going to be a very strange looking lagoon. That's what it is going to be. And there. Outside buildable area. Oh, that was viable. Hang on. Nope. Terrain constraints. Never mind. The game lied to me. Okay. Is this big enough? How big did we end up making it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 7 lagoon spaces. That's only 2 spaces larger than the other one. I just feel like the map should allow more down here.
Here's an opportunity you're not going to want to miss.
Alright, let's see. Yeah, so from the map's view, we're wasting all this other space. Maybe we delete it and try again. The game really needs a blueprint mode where you can like test stuff out and then lock it in so that you don't have to do trial and error with real money. I've done a few different models here. We squeezed in 8 lagoon sections this time. Hopefully that's enough. I still feel like we are wasting space according to the map, but I wasn't able to bring this edge any closer to the buildable limit, and then this edge is just too close. It's like it was just the wrong space to be able to fit 3 across, and then I can't get any more into this little tip. And then I hit terrain constraints for the rest of it. So hopefully this is something that we can use. Let's go back to enclosures. Get the lagoon hatchery. Yeah, we'll put it off here on the side. I guess I could fit it back here. The problem with fitting it back here is that this is where the rangers and the ambulance would launch their drones from, and launching them from the corner takes them a lot longer to be able to find the big dinos. We'll still build over here. Keeps it out of the way of what I want to build to supply the guests. Now, a fun trick is that you don't have to use the lagoon viewing station to be able to get your guests a view. We can use the platform here. Unfortunately, it cannot connect all the way to the walls like it can with the normal fences, but we can hook it around over here to be able to see deeper into the lagoon, which I definitely want to be able to get full coverage, and then we would need some way to get our guests to be able to see all the way back there. Haha, we have the Mosasaurus. This guy's taken forever to be able to get. He takes $1 million just to synthesize. Oh, he's so expensive, but it's going to be worth it. Unless, you know, he's unhappy because his pen is too small. That would be extremely unfortunate. It actually took 4 expeditions to be able to get enough DNA out of the fossils we were extracting. We had to go to dig sites across Europe and the Americas, and his fossils take up extra space in the science lab. Like, we were getting 8s and 5s. Oh, problem child ultimately died. Died of old age. Well, we were expecting him to die of some comical injury, but he lived to a ripe old age, so sad to see him go. He was the one who was causing all sorts of trouble earlier on. Getting into fights with his friends and then getting sick immediately. Alright, let's increase the population of Nodosaurs. We have the improved version of Struthiomimus. I'm not even going to try and say this one, but we've got him ready for release, so we're going to send him out here. The interesting thing about this type of dinosaur is that they actually don't mind living with others of their own type, whereas usually dinosaurs actually actively dislike other species of their own type. So they can happily cohabitate. So we're gradually just going to shift over to the higher appeal version and let the Struthiomimus population just die out. Ah, both eggs were antisocial. Why were they both antisocial? I didn't have any antisocial Nodosauruses after the initial batches, and even in the other exhibit, I didn't have that happen. All right, cheaper synthesis. Let's go get some of these scientists out on break so that they can recoup. They won't be so grumpy on us. And then, how long does it take the Mosasaurus to incubate? I have a feeling it's going to take forever. Oh, we need to. These Elasmosauruses, because they have the natural tendency to be sickly, are quite a pain to take care of. They have been sick every time I turn my back. Every time I turn my back, they get something new. Oh, the Mosasaurus is actually ready to go. 1 egg. Yes. $2 million to take care of a single egg. Alright. And it'll take basically the entire staff to be able to figure out how to incubate him as well. They're just going to sit around watching it. I mean, it's a $2 million egg. I always sit around watching it too. See what it was going to do. Alright, what did they catch this time? Foot and mouth disease. Yeah, they don't have feet. So that just shows how impressive these Elasmosauruses are at getting sick. They're so sickly. They're pathetic. Another outbreak of disease. I'm getting really tired of these disease outbreaks. I know that's part of the challenge conditions here, but it just requires so much micromanagement. Here we go. We need to get rid of tuberculosis. I think we can get a tuberculosis inoculation eventually, but we have to have a higher star rating in the park. So they're kind of gating that off from us, which is tuberculosis found its way over here as well. Wow, everybody's catching it over here. The Brachiosauruses actually are sickly as well. Okay, we've actually had the Mosasaurus ready for release for a little while. Oh, wait. These Elasmosauruses are doing a good job making me regret that I ever placed them into the park. They are always injured or sick, and I guess it's like the little tiny fish that they eat are beating them up. I don't know. It's clear why these guys went extinct. Okay, I've actually had the Mosasaurus ready for release for a little while here, but we have been caught up in multiple epidemics of tuberculosis and other, just a lot of micromanagement of the vet. Oh, he is so big. Oh, no way. Oh, man.
So when people
This
come
guy
to the
is
park,
enormous.
Sure, but they
He's a
also
champ.
want to be entertained.
Here we
And this
go.
marine reptile,
2,500 appeal, just
showstopper.
casually.
If the T-Rex is the ruler of the
You
dinosaurs
could
on
see this
land,
guy
then
from
the
zooming all the
Mosasaurus
way
holds
out,
that title
even under the
below
water.
waters. Make sure this animal is a premium attraction.
Alright, how much open space does he need? He's looking for sharks to feed on. That's how That's how beastly this thing is. Alright, he found one of the shark feeders. Area is expanding happily. Good. We might even be able to squeeze a second one in here. Ah, this shark feeder is infected. It's been waiting for him for too long. Alright, disinfect this feeder, please. Preferably before he goes and snacks on it. And my prize attraction contracts salmonella. Oh, yes! There it is! Alright, that's the money shot right there, going for the shark. Oh, baby. Time to make our final push for 5 stars here. We're gonna get our next enclosure. We'll be looking to put some more herbivores into here. We have space, I believe, for 2 more dinosaurs. We'll get an Ankylosaurus type, and we'll get a large sauropod. Not sure we're gonna be able to get the biggest one. We'll see what we're able to pull off. We have Eupolycephalus eggs in the synthesizing chamber. Honestly, that sounds like a disease, but nope, it's an ankylosaurid. So he's going to be our next dino that we're going to fit in over here. We've got 2 viewing stations right now, but we have this back corner that we want our guests to be able to view as well. So we're going to go for a viewing platform. Grab the viewing platform, and I love the rounded fences, able to give you the exact position that you like to have. So we will connect this up to the path, and that should give us excellent view in. We want to get a ranger post. Do we do 2? I guess we'll do 2. And then to be able to set up the exhibit, let's get the eggs into the incubation chambers, and let's figure out what we've got. So we have antisocial and defensive and needy. We'll drop the antisocial one because I want to have a few of these guys in together, and we'll pick up the needy one because we have a large enough exhibit to be able to provide for even the picky ones. Over here we have another antisocial, so it's going to be slow going to bring their population levels up if we want to avoid those negative traits, but we're not allowed to do any genetic modifications here on this challenge map. So we'll get those going. They want water, open space, ground leaf, ground fruit. We can definitely provide that. Let's figure out, how do we want the water feature to go? That's always the most eye-catching portion of the exhibit. We'll tone the radius down a little bit here. I want kind of a large, swampy lake kind of formation. Come around here on the back. I like that. And then we want the ground leaf and ground fruit for them. Clear away some of this forest, or at least intermix the forest. There's levels of density as you run your paintbrush over these. So if we held down, we would fully eliminate the forest to make way for the ground leaf. Otherwise, you just kind of thin things out. And then the other thing was ground fruit, which comes out of the grove here, I believe. Yes, tall fruit and ground fruit. So we'll get that in. Scatter it around a little bit. All right. I believe they should be happy with that. And then we'll take Ranger Team 1, give them responsibility of this exhibit. And it should be all good for once these guys are ready, and they'll be ready in 1.5 minutes. Beautiful. I feel like I've just been spinning my wheels for a while here because there's so many disease outbreaks. I really wish that I could modify resilience into the populations here, but that is the part of the challenge of the scenario. But really the challenge just means a lot of micromanagement, and the Allosaurus are sick again. I thought that one Nodosaurus was challenging to deal with. These guys have been on a whole nother level. Alright, what did they catch? Foot and mouth disease. They seem to always be coming down with that, even though they don't have feet. In the midst of all this ambulance micromanagement, we're ready to release via airlift our next set of dinos. And I gotta remember which exhibit holds which specific species. We have 3 different types of ankylosaurids now. Maybe we'll be able to gain the full set. Gotta collect them all. Yes, we can research Dreadnaughtus. He will be the crowning achievement of our park. 2 million. Man, he's gonna try and compete with the Mosasaurus. We should be able to have more of them together in the exhibit, so maybe their overall appeal will actually be able to compete. We'll see. Oh, he's lonely, but he has everything else he needs, and he's got a friend along the way coming along. So we're actually going to go for another batch. Hopefully we don't get hit with all the where all our staff is busy researching the Dreadnaughtus. That's fine. With a name like that, I would want to be on that research project as well. We'll let them finish. Where is the Mosasaurus lurking? He's got to be down here somewhere. There he is. So he is actually the cousin that was created. I want to be able to fit two in together, but he ended up coming in and killing the original, so he's going to have this all to himself for now. Where in the world does one go to be able to find the fossils of Dreadnaughtus? Way down here in South America. I'm not sure if this is Chile or if it's on the other side of the mountains, but we're gonna send out our expedition to the remote dig site. Bring me back pristine fossils. Here we are. We've maxed out our species count. So this is because we still have a few Struthiomimus wandering around. We will sell them off as soon as we have Dreadnaughtus ready to be released, because he's gonna bring in so much more appeal for us. It's also about time for us to start figuring out if we are maxing out our park. Guest comfort is looking great. Amenity coverage could be better, but mid to high 70s is not bad. It's not bad there. Our appeal rating does look like it probably needs to go up to be able to hit that, wow, 1.7 million that we need in income to be able to hit 5 stars. We just keep on going back to South America to dig up more of Dreadnaughtus. This is our 3rd expedition, and hopefully it will be our last one, but we'll see. Mosasaurus took 4. This one might be the same. So here's a fun thing. This Struthiomimus is the last one in the exhibit. I want to completely get rid of them because we have the species limit of 10 to be able to bring in the Dreadnaughtus, and he's bugged. He's been bugged for a little while. He doesn't move from this position, he doesn't eat, he doesn't drink, but he also doesn't die. And if I tranquilize him and then I try and remove him and sell him, he doesn't leave. The helicopter crew will come by, lower the crane, pick it back up, fly away, and he's still here. And he still does technically count as being here in the exhibit, so he's counting against my number of, or my diversity of species, which is infuriating, because that means we're gonna have to get rid of somebody else to bring in the Dreadnaughtus. So who do we get rid of to be able to make way for Dreadnaughtus if we can't get rid of this last Struthiomimus? Still mad about that one. It looks like it is actually Polycanthus who's on the low end of appeal and population. So yeah, we will sell off our population of Polycanthus and come back with a 100% genome for Dreadnaughtus to be able to begin our exploits. Wow, we get one Dreadnaughtus at a time. Incredible. And he is almost $1 million. Not quite. He's a little bit underneath. Okay, so we'll get to work on him. 7 minutes to be able to get more there. Do we need to stabilize any other populations, or can we do a second batch right away? I think we can do a second batch right away. Now, his appeal is way beneath the Mosasaur, but he's going to be okay cohabitating with a herd together. It would still take, what? It would take 5 of them to be on the level of 1 Mosasaur, though. Ugh. Maybe we want to sell this Mosasaur and see if we can get 2 to live together if we keep on making the eggs. Because let's see, he has, yeah, he got the aggressive trait. That is a possibility, because then we can pack in a lot more appeal. Now we get our first glimpse of the giant. Oh, yes. Wow. He is. There's no way that helicopter could actually lift him. Time for our big boy to have his friend delivered in 85% comfort right now. He's doing pretty good. He's still extending his territory. These guys extend their territory extremely slowly. Looks like he's going straight for the viewing platform. Yeah, that's not a treat for you to eat, man. But he is pretty comfortable, and I think that as he extends to reach all the way into the corners, he'll have enough forest and open space to be able to hit that perfect ratio. Oh, no way. They just landed and they're sick? What? What? Okay, go over there. I cannot afford to lose these guys to whatever. Oh, wonderful. They've already caught a disease. What did they catch? They got avian pox as soon as they landed. Wow. Well, good thing we have the cure here, and we were able to get to it quickly. So the herd is saved. Okay, it's time for our big experiment. We're going to get rid of the aggressive Mosasaur. We can sell this guy off, and then we can release these 2 other Mosasaurs. Both of them happen to be needy, but I was just rolling and rolling with more eggs, and I never got one that was missing both aggressive and needy. So we'll see how this goes. If they still fight and kill each other, then we're in the same place as we were before, sitting at 4.5 stars, which is so frustrating, trying to get that last half star to be able to hit 5 stars and finish the scenario. There's the first one entering into his exhibit right as the old monster is pulled out. And then let's release his brother. Release the dinos. Okay, we're gonna want to keep a close eye to see if they go to war with each other or if they're going to cohabitate. And this is going to be what puts us over. Right now it feels like just all my time is spent micromanaging ambulances, and it's getting quite tiring. Our Dreadnaughtus, with 4 of them, they're starting to feel a little cramped, so I don't want to expand that anymore unless I give them a larger exhibit, which we might do as another option for being able to push our star rating over. But I think right now, things are starting to do well. Let's see where they surface. There's one of them. And there is the other. Missing a shark? What do you mean missing shark? Oh, they want 4? They need 2 feeders each? Okay. I can provide that. I wonder if that's why the other 2 got into a fight. There wasn't enough food for the 2 of them. Well, there will be plenty here. My prize dinos. Are they going to compete for this? They're both closing in on this shark. Yeah, so they are a little cramped to keep the 2 of them in together. I don't know how well this is going to go. Part of that is because they're needy, which means that they're going to ask for even more open space than they normally would. And wow, they're saying they only have 45% of what they want. We tried building the lagoon bigger, but it did not work. Oh man, we're getting so close. 4.8 stars. Okay, what is the final push for us? I think we just start building more dreadnoughts and expand their exhibit so that they will not feel cramped here. So we're going to get this a little bit bigger. Go up to that large fence size. Getting people to be able to see them in here is going to be a trick, but we'll figure out a way. Even if it means needing to kind of inset a viewing zone, we could get away. We could also wrap the path around either side. But I do like sometimes building exhibits in a U shape where then the guests are able to be in the middle and see all the way around. That could be something that we develop. We've hit 4.8 stars. Anything could put us over at this point. We just want to be careful that we are making the best decisions to keep our profit margins high. We've extended this exhibit to be able to let the Dreadnaughtus roam as far as they could possibly want and be able to keep on throwing more dreadnoughts into the exhibit. That is the goal. They come only one at a time, so it's a very slow process, but we're going to bring their numbers up, and we're just going to keep on throwing dreadnoughts at the problem until it finally fixes it. Make me more money.
If only every member of the team had
we
your
did
drive
it.
and commitment.
I didn't even see what put us over. Completion time 9:35 out of 10 hours is the par time. We just squeaked it out. Oh, what a relief. I was getting exhausted playing this because the frequent disease outbreaks here on this part of this challenge map just make micromanaging the ambulance an absolute pain. So what I think did it as I'm processing here, we brought up the Dreadnaughtus population to 8. We initially had 4. We brought in another 4. Their exhibit stretches on and on, the largest zone of maybe even any exhibit I've ever built. I had a really large one in one of my Chaos Theory maps as well. But here they are. They just all stick together too, which is kind of cool. They stay as a herd. The monorail passes over. We had to get this much space to be able to maximize their comfort, because as their population goes up, their needs go up slightly. So even now they would like a little bit more forest. I wonder if, trying to figure out what the coloration zones mean. Usually the brighter zone is the animal you have selected, and then the darker zones are for other animals in their same exhibit. Let's find the little guys. There it is. So their territory extends only this way. They don't care about going out beyond there. They already have way more than enough area that they want. But the Dreadnaughts, they'll go all the way out. Okay, so the darker zone is actually theirs. Over here is kind of the prototype of the Dreadnought exhibit. It has the Brachiosaurus. It has the little Chasmosaurus, and it used to have an Ankylosaurus. We had to sell that Ankylosaurus because of the whole Struthiomimus is bugged out fiasco, which, if you guys were curious in an update about him, he is still here. He doesn't move. He just idles here. Now he has a disease. He has pneumonia, so I cannot get the disease-free contract to trigger because he's considered always to have the disease. He does not transmit the disease to anybody else, and there is a storm warning. So let's wrap up the tour. This was our original exhibit. It has the Dracorexes. It has the one Struthiomimus. It has the upgrade to the Struthiomimus. Oh, I'm already getting tongue-tied. The Aracorninothomimus. It's not how it's said, but that's what we're going to call him. We have the hatchery here, and then our big attraction. You come down the hill to the ocean front, and you have Elasmosaurus, always sickly, always a pain. These guys, they do look pretty cool though if we get in here. Yes, there they are. So we kept the population of 4 of those guys. They have an appeal rating of 400 each, so pretty valuable. The main attraction here, the Mosasaurus. We had 2 in here. One of them actually died from avian flu. It wasn't able to be healed fast enough. I have another one on the way, but we actually didn't need it. We were able to tick over the 5 stars for just a moment, and that's what counts for beating the scenario. I do like doing a tally of which viewing zones are the most appealing. So we had 400 here on the original exhibit, 800 over here. There must be a larger herd within view out there. 480 right here. 3,600 with the herd of Dreadnaughts all within view over here. I think it's going to be really hard to get anything into view over here. Yeah, not much actually ventured over to that portion. If we kept on extending the Dreadnaughts numbers, they might have kind of fractured off and had people all over. 700 over here. 1,500, so one of the better ones. 1,800, this one catching all the Brachiosaurs, the really big sauropods, putting in work for our appeal ratings. 1,600 right here. This has excellent view of all of those cool sea monsters. And then this is just going to depend on where the Mosasaur is as he moves around. There we go. These guys can see him. 2,500 appeal. That is the highest appeal rating. Even of the condensed herds, his appeal rating is just through the roof. If you guys are curious about the rest of the park's breakdown stats, our appeal was up to 1,200 here, giving us 2,760 potential guests. We had 2,425 of those actually in the park, with really good guest comfort ratings here. Though the guest approval is a little bit low because of dinosaur welfare and our safety rating. Not sure why our safety rating is low. Oh, it's because a storm is happening right now. That's why. So things are a little bit in flux. Ticket sales are excellent. We're mostly getting nature guests with a mix in of some luxury because we have good dinosaur variety and a good selection of hotels. And then for our amenities, our coverages were not as good as I have had in some of my parks because this ended up being a much more sprawling park zone. So let's see if I can call out the best amenity coverages. So we have large amenities right here, and then a clump of medium amenities over here. This one also had to be a medium amenity. I wanted it to be large, but I couldn't find a way to fit the large one in without rerouting a lot of paths or destroying other things, so I just left it. And then down here we have a cluster of large amenities serving the lagoon zone. Over here we even have some small amenities if you wander all the way around to be able to see the mosasaur from this exhibit. And I was starting to expand with a set of a few amenities over here and a hotel and everything the guests needed to be able to see dinos from this side of things, even though that never really panned out because the dinosaurs didn't make it over. These are still turning a tiny profit, which is good to see. So every little bit counted. There we go. That is how to beat the Germany challenge map on Jurassic difficulty, the highest difficulty setting. I am done with this. I don't want to touch it again. I don't want to give commands to another ambulance again. I've been so exhausted having to micromanage through all the disease outbreaks for a park that had a very high population of dinosaurs, but it was a struggle to be able to get over the appeal threshold to hit 5 stars. We did it though, and we did it within the time limit as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see me tackle next. Until then, thank you guys for watching and have a good one.